Where are they? This question haunts Turkey, echoing through silent streets and the hearts of those left behind. It is a question that lingers in the air, unanswered, growing heavier with each passing year. Since 1980, thousands have vanished, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, leaving families in agony. Each disappearance is a story abruptly cut short, a life interrupted, and a family forced to live with uncertainty. The pain of not knowing, of waiting for news that never comes, is a burden that weighs on generations. These disappearances are not just statistics, they are personal tragedies that have scarred the nation. Behind every missing person is a network of loved ones, parents, siblings, children, whose lives are forever changed. Their grief is visible in every protest, every vigil, every faded photograph. The search for answers defines the lives of many, fueling a relentless pursuit of truth. Volunteers, activists, and families refuse to give up hope, combing forests, fields, and archives for any clue. Their determination is a testament to the human spirit's refusal to accept silence. We will explore the roots of these disappearances, the political turmoil that enabled them, and the ongoing struggle for justice. The 1980s were a time of upheaval, when fear and suspicion gripped the country, and many simply vanished without a trace. Our focus: facts, documented cases, and the enduring impact on families and society. We will examine the evidence, the official records, and the stories that refuse to be forgotten, shining a light on the truth that so many seek. Why have so many cases grown cold? Is it neglect, fear, or something more sinister? The unanswered questions pile up, and with each year, hope fades for some, while others grow more determined. What went wrong in the search for justice? Was it a lack of will, or were there forces actively working to keep the truth hidden? The legal system, too, has struggled to provide closure, leaving families in limbo. The wound remains open, shaping Turkey's discourse on human rights and accountability. These disappearances are not just a part of the past, they continue to influence the present, fueling calls for reform and justice. The question, where are they, remains unanswered, but the fight for truth continues. As long as families search and voices demand answers, hope endures, and the story is not yet over. To truly understand the pain and persistence behind these disappearances, we must look beyond the headlines and statistics. Each missing person represents a family left in limbo, a community haunted by unanswered questions, and a nation grappling with its own conscience. The anguish of not knowing, the endless waiting, and the desperate hope for answers have become a part of daily life for thousands across Turkey. To grasp the roots of this tragedy, we must look at Turkey's turbulent history, a history marked by deep political divisions, social unrest, and a struggle for power that has often come at a terrible human cost. The late 1970s were a time of chaos and fear. Political violence erupted on the streets, with rival factions clashing and ordinary citizens caught in the crossfire. This climate of instability and terror set the stage for what would become one of the darkest chapters in Turkish history. The 1980 military coup. The military, led by General Kenan Evren, seized control of the country, suspending democracy and imposing martial law. Tanks rolled through city streets, and soldiers enforced curfews with an iron fist. The junta promised order, but what followed was a systematic crackdown on anyone who dared to dissent. Torture, mass arrests, and forced disappearances became routine. Prisons overflowed with political prisoners, and families lived in constant fear of a midnight knock on the door. A culture of impunity took root, as those in power acted without accountability or oversight. New laws granted security forces sweeping powers, making it nearly impossible for victims' families to seek justice, or even basic information. Courtrooms became places of intimidation rather than hope, and the legal system offered little recourse for the disappeared. Official records vanished, destroyed or hidden away, as the state operated in the shadows. The truth about what happened to so many was buried under layers of bureaucracy and secrecy, leaving families to search for answers that were deliberately kept out of reach. Anyone deemed a threat, real or imagined, could be targeted. The fear was pervasive, and trust in institutions eroded. This era laid the groundwork for future tragedies, as the machinery of repression became deeply embedded in the state. The wounds from this era have never truly healed. They continue to shape the relationship between state and citizen, casting a long shadow over generations. For many, the pain is not just historical, it is personal, immediate, and ongoing. This legacy of fear and injustice still influences Turkey today. The echoes of the past are felt in the cautious steps of citizens, in the demands for justice at protests, and in the quiet resilience of those who refuse to forget. The struggle for the missing is rooted in this dark chapter, A chapter that continues to demand answers, accountability, and above all, remembrance. The 1980s began under the heavy hand of military rule, as tanks rolled through city streets and soldiers enforced a new order. The coup was not just a change in government, it was a seismic shock that rippled through every layer of Turkish society. The generals who seized power promised stability, but their methods were ruthless, determined to crush any form of dissent or opposition. In the aftermath, thousands were detained in mass arrests. Prisons overflowed with political activists, students, union leaders, and intellectuals. Many were never seen again. Families waited for news that never came, clinging to hope as days turned into years. The fate of the disappeared became a haunting question mark over the nation. Among these cases, Şamil Kırbayır's story stands out. He was taken after the coup, accused of political activism. Under torture, he lost his life, but his body was never returned to his family. His mother's tireless search for answers became a symbol of the pain endured by so many. The Kırbayır family's relentless pursuit of truth inspired others. Their struggle highlighted the state's refusal to acknowledge responsibility and the broader fight for justice. Week after week, families gathered in silent protest, holding photographs of their missing loved ones, demanding answers from a government that refused to listen. Disappearances followed a chilling pattern: abductions by security forces, unofficial detention in secret locations, and falsified records to erase all traces. The machinery of the state worked to cover its tracks, leaving families in a limbo of uncertainty and fear. When confronted, the state's response was always denial. Officials claimed ignorance, dismissed accusations, or even blamed the victims themselves. This wall of silence only deepened the wounds of those left behind. The era set a dangerous precedent, one where the state could act outside the law, instilling fear in every household. Families learned to whisper, to lock their doors, and to live with the constant threat that anyone could vanish without a trace. The shadow of the coup lingered long after the tanks left the streets. Unresolved cases piled up, and the legacy of fear became woven into the fabric of daily life. The truth was buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and silence. For those who searched for answers, the fight was lonely and fraught with danger. Families of the disappeared were often stigmatized, shunned by neighbors, and watched by authorities. Yet their courage in the face of intimidation kept the hope for justice alive. This period paved the way for even darker times ahead, as the wounds of the past remained open, and the struggle for truth and accountability continued to shape the nation's future. The 1990s marked the darkest era for enforced disappearances in Türkiye. The conflict between the state and the PKK escalated, especially in the southeast. Extraordinary powers were granted to security forces, fueling violence and impunity. Thousands, mostly Kurds, politicians, journalists, villagers, were abducted and never seen again. Paramilitary groups like Gizemli operated in secrecy, their existence denied for years. Disappearances became a tool to eliminate opponents and terrorize communities. The state denied responsibility, and investigations were superficial or non-existent. Unmarked mass graves later confirmed the worst fears of families. The 1990s left a legacy of unresolved cases and deep injustice. Disappearances in Türkiye were systematic, not random. In the 1980s, the targets were political opponents. In the 1990s, mostly Kurds. The state saw these groups as existential threats, justifying illegal actions. Impunity was built into the system. Laws protected security forces from prosecution. The judiciary rarely challenged abuses, and cases were delayed or dismissed. This emboldened perpetrators and denied justice to families. Polarization and propaganda dehumanized victims, labeling them as traitors or terrorists. Families faced not only grief, but also social stigma and isolation. The lack of public solidarity allowed disappearances to continue unchecked. These root causes created a cycle of violence and silence. The search for the missing is obstructed by deliberate destruction of evidence. Victims were hidden in unmarked graves or remote locations, leaving no trace. Governments have shown little will to resolve these cases, fearing political fallout. Official denial and lack of pressure mean investigations are rare and ineffective. Statutes of limitations threaten to close cases forever, letting perpetrators escape justice. Human rights groups argue enforced disappearance should have no time limit, but progress is slow. Fear silences witnesses, many are too afraid to speak out, even decades later. Without testimony or evidence, most cases remain unsolved. The climate of fear and impunity persists, hindering the search for truth. The trauma of disappearances extends beyond families, it scars entire communities. Trust in the state is shattered when it becomes the perpetrator. In affected regions, collective grief and anger shape identity and politics. Unmarked graves are grim reminders, fueling ongoing grievances and blocking reconciliation. Families endure ambiguous loss, unable to mourn or move on. The Saturday Mothers' Vigils are both protest and a desperate plea for closure. The issue remains central in Türkiye's human rights debate, symbolizing unfinished democracy. The struggle for the missing has inspired a powerful movement for justice. The stories of the disappeared force the nation to confront its past. Their memory endures, demanding accountability. In the face of denial, families of the missing refused silence. The Saturday Mothers began gathering in 1995, holding photos of loved ones in Istanbul's Galatasaray Square. Their peaceful protest became a symbol of remembrance and defiance. Despite police violence and bans, they persisted, gaining national and international recognition. Their demand: find the missing, prosecute the perpetrators, and preserve memory. They document every case, building an archive that challenges official narratives. Their struggle is not just for justice, but against forgetting. The Saturday Mothers have kept the issue alive, inspiring others and forcing some state acknowledgement. They show the power of ordinary people to challenge silence and impunity. Their voices echo, demanding justice. Türkiye's disappeared are a stark reminder of political violence and state impunity. Systematic crimes, enabled by law and denial, left thousands in limbo. The main obstacles: lack of political will, destroyed evidence, and a complicit judiciary. The social cost is immense. Trust eroded, wounds unhealed, especially among Kurds. Yet, the family's struggle, led by the Saturday Mothers, is a beacon of hope. Their fight for truth and justice is a pillar of a healthy society. The disappeared hold up a mirror to Türkiye, reflecting the struggle between power and rights. True reconciliation begins only when the silence is broken and every missing person is sought.